I'm having a little bit of an emotional moment right now. God keeps telling me that He needs me to believe in myself. And I'm over here like, oh God, like, aren't I like confident and sure of myself enough? Like, I know I second guess everything and overthink everything and wonder about everything. And it's not like I don't believe everything. It's just that there's always like this 1% in my head that's like, oh, I'm not sure exactly what this thing is, sometimes. Earlier this evening, I came across like a Facebook post thing that said, being humble means that we are not on earth to see how important we can become, but to see how much difference we can make in the lives of others. And like the word humble has come up a lot in um, my own journey because when I was first woken up, I was told this like story that sounded like some sort of like grandiose delusion or whatever, and it really bothered me um, because it's like, man, I don't think I'm that full of myself. Like I want to believe that I'm a humble person. I feel like I've tried to be like a humble, down to earth person my entire life. Like I've always tried to be like the best me that I can be. Uh, but I always worked real hard not to think of myself as like better than anybody and stuff like that. And so when all this spiritual awakening stuff first started happening, um, it was a real struggle because, of course, just like the awakening itself, it's like, I feel like very special and blessed and fortunate and also proud and, realizing that I've been doing the work my whole life, realizing that without even knowing exactly what destination I was trying to get to, that I somehow got there, you know? Um, or, I don't know, we're still traveling down that path, but, have got to like this place that I never expected to get, because a lot of the times all of this seems, like magic. Like, what universe am I in right now? Because this is so completely different from how I existed for so long. And, I've struggled a lot with pride and guilt and stuff. I think it was like a week or two ago, I was channeling, and like the topic of the night was like pride and guilt, and how every time I feel proud of something, I also feel guilty about feeling proud of it, And I don't know if that's a normal thing that everybody experiences or if I just torture myself. I looked up a few things on the internet and I came across, some stuff about like guilt related to success. And I was like, yeah, like I feel like I probably have like a little bit of that, which is weird because it's like I've been very successful in some parts of my life and in other parts of my life, like not successful. Um, you know, but if I was going to pick and choose what parts of my life I'd want to be successful in, for the most part, like I've hit the important ones, definitely the most important ones to me. But, I had come across that Facebook meme and so I was like, you know what, let me go look up the definition of humble. Because these days, when I come across things that talk about being humble, like this definition, having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. When I read that, I'm like, fuck being humble. Like, why the hell did I want to be humble? And then the next definition is of low social, administrative, or political rank. Well, fuck that too, or whatever. I don't really care about having like rank on like other people, but like in terms of me, myself, and how I feel in this world, man, I think I'm fucking awesome. Like I wouldn't want to be anybody else. They used to, when you're younger, people to ask if you could trade lives with anybody, who would you want to trade lives with? And be like, fuck that, man. I like me. Um, Like I like my life. I wouldn't trade my life, for anybody else's. And then as a verb, it meant lower than someone in dignity or importance. Fuck that shit, guys. Like, fuck that shit. You know what? Like, God could come down here himself or whatever, and I'd be like, you know what? I like me better. Love you, but I like me better. I'm going to choose me. My soul chooses me. Like, I am my favorite. And, it just got me wondering, like, why the fuck have I tried to be humble, like, my whole life? Like, why the hell, like, what does that word even mean to me? Like, I think generally speaking, that word to me means, like, not thinking that I'm better than anyone else. But, let's break that down a little bit because, I think for me, what that word means is believing that like we all start out with like the same potential, etc. And that, you know, every life has value and that, like every life is like a unique and beautiful expression of God, the universe, whatever. But I think when I start thinking about it in terms of like where it doesn't sit well is when I think in terms of like personal importance, personal worth. Because one of the things that bothers me is I feel like society, like I feel like all I ever see are messages to put other people first, to do for others, to give to others. And while that is all well and good, I feel like society's tried to program people not to give a shit about themselves, like not to put themselves first and that sort of thing. And my life experience has taught me that you need to put yourself first. You need to take care of yourself. You need to love yourself. You need to do those things, because if you don't do those things, so many bad things result. But also, if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to help anybody else. And if you don't love yourself, then you've got some serious problems and you're going to have a lot less love to give somebody else. I remember, talking to my husband a long time ago, and I was like, if you don't love yourself, why should I feel flattered by your love? Does that make sense? Like, I wasn't trying to be ugly, but it's like, I want your love to come from a place of worth, like, I'm not sure how to articulate that better. But, I think I've always loved myself and I've always strived to do things for other people. And a lot of my motives are basically like to help other people. However, since this awakening, like I have been pushed and encouraged to prioritize myself more, and it's just weird because it's like, man, I've been preaching this shit for a long time, but I haven't really been like fully embracing it myself. But you know what? Like, I'm awesome. I am important, at least to me. I don't really care what I mean to anybody else. I mean, would like my partner to prioritize me, like that would be great, but I still want him to be his number one. I can be his number two. Like that's ideally how it should work. But yeah, fuck being humble, man. Like, I'm a big believer in leading by example. So if you want other people to like love themselves and value themselves and all that kind of stuff, you gotta start with you. Like I've heard these things in the past. I think some of these are like even biblical in nature. Like you gotta start at home. You gotta take care of yourself first, and then those closest to you, and then branch out from there. The whole humble thing, yeah, I totally feel like you have to examine the context that someone's coming from when they're talking about being humble, but a lot of the shit that is shoved down our throats, I feel it's just a control mechanism to keep us doubting ourselves, to keep us underestimating ourselves, and from stepping into our own power. So I hope you will step into your own power by prioritizing yourself and loving yourself and realizing that you are valued and important.